Well, praise the Lord this morning. I'm come back again, and I'm going to do a teaching on Judges, okay? Chapter 9. But before I get into it, I have to tell you what happened. Now, we know about Gideon. God come to Gideon and ask him to go out and fight to do this. In other words, he was telling him, you are to be a judge over Israel, okay? Because at that time they didn't have kings, they had judges that ruled over them, or stood between them and God, I should say. Sort of like Jesus does today with us. But anyway, that was just a thought. It come to me. But anyway, the Midianites had been coming up and taking their crops. So God called Gideon. And of course, Gideon at first didn't believe, because you know the famous story about the fleece. You know, one night he put the fleece out there and he said to have dew everywhere but on the fleece, and that happened. And then the next he said have the dew on the fleece and nowhere else, and that happened. So he knew that God was really speaking to him to go out and do this. And so he goes out, and then we know that the story that how God brought him down to only 300 men to fight this whole army in the valley, and how they won. And then Gideon, you know, is asked to be the king, and he refuses. Because it says, then the men of Israel said unto Gideon, rule over us, both thou and thy sons sons also, for thou hast delivered us from the Midians. But what does Gideon say? And Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my sons rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. Very important. And Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you, that you would give me every man earrings and his of his prey, for they have golden earrings, because they were Ishmael. And they answered, we will willingly give them. And they spread a garment, and did cast therein every man the earrings of his prey, you know, because of this war. And the weight of the gold earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, besides the ornaments and collars and purple raiment that was on the king of Midian, besides the chains that were about the camel's neck. And Gideon made an ephraim, you know, that thing that goes on the chest plate of a priest, and put it in his city, even in Ophrim. And all Israel went thither, and whoring after it, which thing because became a snare in Gideon's unto Gideon and his house. Okay, so Israel was really bad about this, you know. They wanted, when Moses was gone too long, they wanted an idol to worship. They wanted to see something, wanted to touch something, and that's what happened to Gideon when he did that. He really, in a way, shouldn't have done it, because who would know Israel better than one that lives in Israel, that is Israel, part of Israel. So they went They wanted to go back to their same old ways of worshiping something. Well, now, Gideon dies, okay? And he has many sons. So this has got up to chapter 9, because he had turned down the kingship. And chapter 9, verse 1, and Ambilech, Abimelech, the son of Jeroboam, which is Gideon, went to Shamar, into his mother's brother, and communed with them with all the families of the house of his mother's father. Well, you see, he went to his mother's household because Gideon had many wives. He had 70 sons or more, and this son was born to a concubine from the land of Shechem. And so this son went back to his mother's people and said, "Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all of the men of Shinar, whether it's better for you either that all the sons of Jeroboam, B-A-A-L, which, if you study it, you'll find out that's Gideon himself, which are 70 persons, reign over you, or that one reign over you. Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh." So he was saying, do you want all the sons of Gideon to rule over you, or do you just want one? And his mother's brethren spoke of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, "He is our brother." And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baalberith, wherein Abimelech hard, vain, and light persons which followed him. Okay, when I was studying this, I went, okay, what does that mean? What is this Baalberith, or whatever you call it? So God led me over here, and Baalberith was the god of the Canaanite city, who later came to be viewed as the demon Baalbeth by Christian doctrine. According to the book of Jude, his temple was destroyed by Abimelech, quenched the rays of his subjects. So this dude finally goes and destroys it. The name denotes a former Baal worship privilege in Israel, according to the book of Judges, and particularly in Shushan. This term Baal is B-A-L, is shown by equal e-birth, that means the God of covenant, the covenant, to which this may refer to traits such as one with the Canaanites, legend of which Shinar was the head, and the covenant between Israel and the people of Shamar. The term is considered by some to be too abstract to have been occurred by a single set of conditions. Moreover, the temple of the god in Shashmar implies a permanent establishment. Probably the name and the cult were widespread, and occults Balaam, see Balaam, though it is mentioned only in context with the affairs of Shinar. Then we go on down. The idol Balthar, which the Jews worshipped after the death of Gideon, was idolistic. According to the rabbis, with Beelzebub, the B-A-A-L, Baal of flies, the god of Ekron, E-K-R-O-N, in 2 Kings 2, he was worshipped in the shape of a fly. And in Jewish tradition states that so added when the Jews to his cult, they would carry an image of him in their pocket, produce it and kiss it from time to time. Beelzebub is called Baal-berth because such Jews might be said to be a covenant of devotion with the idol, being unwilling to part with it for a single moment. According to other concepts, Baal-berth was an abstract article of idolatrous worship, possibly as similar P-R-I-A-P-I. This is eventually based on the latter substance of the word "brit," meaning circumcised. Baal-berth was the chief secretary of Hell, head of its public archives, and the demon who tempted men to blaspheme and murder. When stated among the princes of hell, he was usually seen as a pontiff. He tells things of the past, present, and future with true answers. He can also turn all metal into gold, and give divinity to men and confirm them. He also quite a verbal sort, according to the history wrote by Father something another. I'm going to put this down on a link below, so go read it. In 16 and 12, Baal-berth once possessed a nun in Axon provision in the process of exorcism. Baal-berth volunteered not only his own name, but the name of other demons possessing her, but the names of the saints who would be affected in opposing them. So we see that this is again, they're turning back to, he's turning back, and he's going to lead Israel back into this demonistic worship that includes Baal, that includes burning their children in Baal. So we see, and I'm going to put it down below in a link where you can read this, and also going to put some pictures of that I've found in a link down below. Okay, so they gave him money from this temple of worship, and he goes out and takes some money, and he hires some vile and light persons which followed him. In other words, these people that was following him was very vile and maybe not too much intelligent, but anyway, they were following. And he went into his father's house in Ophrah, He went into Gideon's house and slew his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, Gideon, being 70 persons upon one stone. He slew them. Notwithstanding yet, Jotham, the youngest son of Jeroboam, was left, for he hid himself. And all the men of Shinar gathered together, and all the house of Millo, and went and made Abimelech, Abimelech, king by the plain that was Shinar. I mean, Shechem. So, as I was studying this, it was amazing because it come to me. They made him a king. Now, this was in a time of the judges, okay? There was no kings over Israel at this time. Saul had not become a king. David had not become a king. There had not been any kings over him. But they took this man, this son of Gideon, after he killed his brothers and thought that he had killed them all, but there was one left. Thought he had killed them all, and they crowned him king. So really, he was the very first king over Israel. The very first one. And to me, that was astonishing. Astonishing that he would do that. They would do that. But of course, we can remember we're dealing with Israel that was always complaining. You know, God out in the desert, they didn't have the water, God provided them the water. They didn't have food, God provided them the food. So they were like children and wanting more, and they were like always complaining. Sounds like the people of today. The churches of today, complaining, always complaining. Oh my word. Anyway, it goes on. And when they told it to Jotham, you know, the young brother that escaped, he went and stood on top of the Mount Gerizim, and lift up his voice and cried. See, I looked up this mountain, and it was very high, but it was like a amphitheater thing. If you've ever been in a play in an amphitheater, or you've been to a play in an amphitheater, they really don't have to have mics and stuff. It is built where when you speak, your voice carries out through the audience. So you don't have to really have microphones and stuff on these type of amphitheaters. I helped build one in Claremore College when I went there. I helped build one. Anyway, he goes up onto this mountain, and he lifts up his voice, and he cried, and said unto them, Hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken unto you. Now he's going to give a parable. A very interesting parable. See, we've always thought that Jesus was the only one that gave parables. No. This is a parable that this young man was going to speak. And he goes on and says, The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them, and said unto the olive tree, Reign thou over us. Okay, The trees represent Israel, okay? The men of Israel. And they had already been looking for a king to rule over them. But the olive tree said unto them, should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to promote over the trees? So there was this one that they asked to be king. He said, no, I'm not going to come and rule over you. You know, I'm not going to give up my position in God to come and rule over you. Let's go on. And the tree said, and the tree said to the fig tree, come thou and reign over us. And the fig tree said unto them, should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit and go to be promoted over the trees? Okay. Again, they go find another person and say, come, rule over us. And that person representing the fig tree said, no, I'm not going to give up my position in the God's authority to rule over you guys. No, I'm not going to give this up. God has put me here and I'm going to stay here. They said to the trees, then said the trees unto the vine, come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, should I leave my wine, which cheers God and man, to go to be promoted over the trees? You know, each one of these, like Gideon, the ones before Gideon, and Gideon said, no, I will not be your king. I will not leave my position in God and what he has put me to do to come and rule over you guys. No. That you are to go and, what did he say? And Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my sons rule over you. Well, of course, by now they're dead. And the Lord shall rule over you. So they've been turned down 3 times, okay? 3 times they've been turned down. So what do? They said, all the trees unto the bramble. You know, bramble is not good. They just cover the ground. They have stickers on them. They're not good. But they said to the bramble, come thou and reign over us. And the brambles said unto the trees, if in truth you anoint me king, and the bramble is representing this man, this son of Gideon, that went and killed his brothers, all but one, the one that's speaking. But he says, if in truth you anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedar of Lebanon. In other words, he says, yeah, I'll come and be your king. I'll rule over you. But if you don't do what I want you to do, fire will come from me and destroy the trees of Lebanon. Cedar of Lebanon. Now therefore, if you have done truly and sincerely in that ye have made Ammielash king, if you have dealt well with Jerubbaal, that's Gideon, and his house, and have done unto him according to the deserving of his hand, for my father fought for you, and avenged his life far, and delivered you out of the hands of the Midians. And ye are raised up against my father's house this day, and have slain his sons, 70 persons upon one stone, and have made Ambalash, the son of his maidservant, king over the men of Sheshan, because he is your brother. So this young man is telling them, you have chose the bramble. This young man says, my father fought for you guys, but here you're turning against my father's house. You're turning against him, and you're accepting this one, you know, that is not of God, that has killed the brothers, my brothers, the sons of Gideon, the one that fought for you. You have turned against him. But if it let fire come out of Abimelech and devour the men of Shermosh, the house of Millo, and let fire come from the man of Sheshmosh, from the house of Mill, and devour Ambushlesh, Abimelech. Now he pronounced a curse upon them, a parable of a curse that would eventually come to pass upon them. Can you just see this? This man, the son of Gideon, by a maidservant, comes to his people and says, so you want a king? I'll be your king. But first I got to go kill those, my brothers, you know. And he does, and they gave him the money from their evil temple. And they come and they give him the money, and he gets the men, and he goes out and kills all of his brothers. But this one that stood there and pronouncing a curse really upon him, he says, you men are wanting a king. And you know, my father told you that, you know, God was the only one to rule over you. But here you're going to take this evil bramble bush, choking out lies, killing, to your king. And Jotham ran away and fled and went to Bur and dwelt there for the fear of Ahimelech his brother. And when Ahimelech his brother took rule over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit between Ahimelech and the men of Shamar, and the men of Shamar dealt treacherously with Ahimelech. So see, God sent us evil spirit. Now, he has authority. He can go, okay, send that evil spirit down there. And it's to go between the king and these men. Okay, it goes on. That the cruelly due to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be laid upon Abimelech their brother, which slew them, and upon the men of Shamar, which aided him in killing his brother. I got to have some tea. So God let this evil spirit come down between them because of what he did to Gideon's sons, his brothers. So there was this fire that was already beginning to be kindled. And the men of Shinar set liars in wait for him in the top of the mountain, and they robbed all that came along that way by them. And it was told Amalek. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, came with his brothers and went over Shasham, the son of Shem, and put their confidence in him. And they went out into the field and gathered the vineyards and trodden the grapes and made merry and went into the house of their God and did eat and drink and curse Amalek. You know, I may have to make a second one on this, but these men chose this man to become their king against God's will. And they see that God has put an evil spirit between them, and they turn on him. I guess they decided he wasn't the king that they thought he should be. So they go over to their evil temple, and they've made wine, and they get drunk, and they're having a big old party, and they're cursing their king. Now, isn't that what we do today? I mean, really. We'll get upset with somebody, and then we'll go flapping our mouth about them, you know, and cursing them. We're not supposed to curse people. We really aren't. You know, what can I say? Okay, let's go on. And Gil, the son of Eben, said, "Who is Amalek, and who is Shisham, that we should serve him? Is not he the son of Gideon, and Zebul his office? Serve the men of honor, the father of Shishon, for why should we serve him? And would to God these people were under my hand, that would I remove Amalek." And he said to Amalek, "Increase thine army and come out." So this guy has challenged him to fight. And when Zebul, the king of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of Eben, his anger was kindled. And he sent messages unto Amalek, prevailing, saying, "Behold, Gaal, the son of Eben, and his brothers be come to Shisham, and behold, there 40 the city against thee," fortifying the city. "Now therefore up by night, thou and thy people that is with thee, and lie in wait for in the field. And it shall be that in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, thou shalt rise early and set upon the city. And behold, when he and the people that is with him come out against them, they must do to them that thou shalt find occasion." And Amalek rose up, and all the people that were with him by night, and they laid wait for against Shisham in 4 companies. And Gil, the son of Eben, went out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city. And Amalek rose up, and the people that were with him from lying in wait. And when Gil saw the people, he said to Zebul, "Behold, they come people down from the top of the mountains." And Zebul said unto him, "Thou seest the shadow of the mountain, as if they were men." You know, the other guy is trying to deceive him. They're the shadows of the mountains. They're not men. I mean, oh. And Gil spoke again and said, "See, they come people down by the middle of the land, and another cometh along." Excuse me. by the plain of Menom. Wow. Allergies are good this morning. And then said Zebah unto him, Where is now thy mouth? Wherewith thou sayest, Who is Amalek, that we should serve him? Is not this the people that thou hast despised? Go out, I pray now, and fight with them. So he's antagonizing this young man. And Galem went out before the men of Shechem and fought with Amalek. And Amalek chased him, and he fled before him, and many were overthrown and wounded, even unto the entrance of the gate. And Amalek dwelt at Aramon, and Zebah trust out Galem and his brothers, that they should not dwell in Shemshak. So they got thrown out. They come in to try to take the kingdom away, but then they got messed up and got kicked out. And it came past on the morrow that the people went out unto the field, and they told Amalek. And he took the people and divided them in 3 camps, and laid wait in the field, and looked. And behold, the people were come forth out of the city. He rose up against them, and smote them. And Amalek and the company that was with him rushed forward, and stood in the entrance of the gate. And the 2 other companies ran upon all the people were in the field, and slew them. And Amalek fought against the city all that day, and took the city, and slew the people that was therein, and brought down the city, and sowed it with salt. Let me tell you, salt is a purifying agent. Moses, during this time in the temple, they would have a salt covenant. They would put salt. Salt is purifying, cleansing. And so he put salt upon the city to cleanse it. And when all the men of the tower of Shemsham heard that, they entered into a hole of this house of the god Berith, Berithoth. And it was told Amalek that all the men of the tower of Shechem were gathered together. And Amalek got him up to the Mount Zalmon, he and all the people that were with him. And Amalek took an axe in his hand, cut down, and brought forth the trees, and took and laid it on his shoulder, and said unto the people that were with him, What you have seen me do, make haste and do as I have done. So he's saying, go and cut down the trees and bring them with you. And all the people likewise cut down, every man his own branch, and followed Amalek, and put them to the hole, and set the hole on fire unto them, so that all the men of the tower of Shemshak died, also about 1,000 men and women. Then went Amalek to Therabaz, and encamped against Therabaz, and took it. But there was a strong tower within the city, thoroughly full of all the men and women, all they of the city, and shut it to them, and grant them up in the tower, the top of the tower. So there's this huge tower. All the people went into the tower, and they were shut up into the tower. And Amalek come into the tower, and fought against it, and went hard unto the door of the tower, to burn it with fire. See, he was going to again burn that door down, burn the tower. And a certain woman cast a millstone upon Amalek's head, and all to break his skull. And then he said hastily unto his young armor-bearer, and said unto him, Draw the sword, slay me, that men shall not say of me, a woman slew me. And his youth young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Amalek was dead, they departed every man into his place. Thus God redeemed the wickedness of Amalek, which he did unto his father, and in slaying his 70 brothers. And all the evil of the men of Sheshmar did God remember upon their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham the son of Gideon. Israel has always been prone to worship what they should not worship and putting God aside. And when I made that video about the Star of David, which is not the Star of David, totally not, it was made and created by Solomon, his son, after he became evil, and he made a ring with that star on it. It was a seal that, you know, when a king makes a document, a proclamation, they would fold it up, they would put wax, and they would seal it with their seal. That was Solomon's seal. Somehow or another it got turned around into David's, you know, Star of David. Not. But in all of this, it seems like Israel would always choose the bad road. I'm going to stop this right here because I have more to speak on what is going to happen in the future right off of this. Because this is important to know. That when Israel took that star and put it on their flag, and it waves over them, they have again committed themselves to a false god, to a false idol, to a demon that requires much blood. Father, in the name of Yeshua, please bless this video. I pray that it has made some kind of sense to the people. I know I'm not a good reader, but Father, I try, and I put it in your hands. For Father, we are in wicked times. We are in terrible times. And Israel has walked back into what she shouldn't have walked back into. Bless this video. Bless it. Let people know there's only one God, one Savior of all men. And let them turn away from the idols and from the terrible destruction of the evilness in this world today, and come out and stand before you and let your presence flow through them, cleansing them, and making them righteous and holy. In your holy name, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, amen and amen.